Hello, this is Sarah Braasch. Welcome back to my channel. So I just wanted to do a quick impromptu video and update everyone on what's going on with my battle with Twitter regarding my wrongful permanent suspension. So where I left you at is I had received an authentic email and I checked the header information from Twitter support a week ago, a little over a week ago, indicating that they acknowledged that my Twitter suspension was completely wrongful. It was a mistake. I had never engaged in hateful conduct, and that they had already fully and rightfully restored my Twitter account to full functionality. Of course, I was thrilled, but then I was struggling over the weekend to get Twitter to actually restore my account to full functionality. And then at the beginning of last week, then on Tuesday, I finally received notice from email again. It seemed like I had gone back into the automated loop from hell, where I got an automated response that my account would not be restored because it had been found to have been engaging in hateful conduct. And so then I did a few different things, but then towards the end of the week, this past week, I got a response from the Better Business Bureau that they were closing my account, but I contacted them. I reached out by phone to the rep from the Better Business Bureau from the BBB, and I explained what had happened and that I had received this authentic email from Twitter support indicating that acknowledging that my permanent Twitter suspension was completely wrongful and that my account had been fully restored. And so the Better Business Bureau representative was very gracious, and she reopened my complaint against Twitter, and she sent the information to Twitter. And then today Twitter responded and said just that my account had been found to have been engaging in abusive behavior, targeted abuse, but not hateful conduct, did not even acknowledge or address the authentic email that I received from Twitter support indicating that my permanent suspension was completely wrongful and that my account had already been restored to full functionality. So I responded to Twitter's response today to the Better Business Bureau, and I said I do not accept that response. I said Twitter has a responsibility to, at the very least, address the fact, and I sent the header information to Twitter via the Better Business Bureau, which I'd already sent to Twitter. But I said Twitter has a responsibility, at the very least, to acknowledge and address the fact that I received an authentic, legitimate notification from Twitter support telling me, acknowledging that my permanent suspension of my Twitter account was completely wrongful and mistaken, and that my account had already been fully restored. That is the reason why the Better Business Bureau reopened my complaint against Twitter, because I received an authentic email from Twitter support indicating that my permanent suspension was completely wrongful, it was a mistake, and that my account had already been rightfully and fully restored. So it is just completely insane to me that Twitter support is just pretending that that never happened. And I also find it incredibly interesting that Twitter support is now changing their language. They've dropped the grossly defamatory and obviously, just wrongful language that I perpetrated hateful conduct. That's just gross defamation and a complete and utter lie. They know it. I know it. Twitter knows it. And also, I made this clear in my response to the Better Business Bureau and to Twitter, is that Twitter relied on the completely false and fraudulent reports of my stalker. I sent Twitter mountains and mountains of evidence that the reports were false and fraudulent, and they were from my stalker. The second strike against me was simply me stating that I'd been harassed by my stalker, that I continued to be harassed by my stalker, that I didn't understand why Twitter allowed this. It was just a simple and correct factual statement. And I said I had never interacted with this person. I had only ever blocked this person and never interacted with them. That's all it was. That was the second strike for allegedly hateful conduct, was me just pointing out the simple and correct fact that I was actually the victim of harassment. And actually the other two strikes were that as well, except that they were me pointing out that public figures of epic proportions with blue check marks and millions of followers had incited death threats, sending mobs against me. So apparently it's hateful conduct now, according to Twitter, for a white person to indicate that they are the victim of harassment by a person of color. That is now hateful conduct according to Twitter. But per their response to the Better Business Bureau, I think they've realized how completely asinine that claim is. So they've dropped the hateful conduct language, and now they're just saying that I am guilty of abusive, targeted harassment, which is also completely defamatory and completely ludicrous. How is it abusive, targeted harassment for me to tell the truth and to defend myself? Twitter allowed an untold number of persons to target me with the most vile, bigoted, hateful, abusive harassment imaginable. But because I defend myself and tell the truth and stand up to my tormentors on Twitter, including public figures of epic proportions with blue check marks and millions of followers, and because I dare have the temerity, have the audacity to stand up to these people and to call them out for what they did to me and to defend myself and to tell the truth, I'm harassing them. Apparently I'm harassing them by pointing out the fact that they harassed me. I'm harassing them by pointing out the fact that they incited death threats, sending mobs against me. And needless to say, I am and was a nobody, an innocent nobody with no Twitter followers, who was living like a hermit at the top of a tower on Yale's campus in my isolated dorm room, which I rarely left. And I have mental health disabilities. And it could not have been more obvious that I was being targeted for my mental health disabilities. The Living or Napping While Black hate crime hoax at Yale was a campaign to publicly shame me for my mental health disabilities. That could not have been more obvious from the video that Lolata Ciambola took, which was a gross violation of my privacy while I was standing in the threshold of my own dorm room at 2 a.m. Anyway, this whole situation is just so completely insane that it's hard for me to even believe that this is actually happening to me. And I keep thinking it's going to be resolved, like cooler heads are going to prevail, common sense is going to prevail, truth is going to prevail, justice is going to prevail, but no! Every time I think the nightmare is over, Twitter just continues the nightmare. Every time I think the nightmare is over, Twitter just continues the nightmare. Twitter sends me an authentic email that says they acknowledge that my Twitter suspension is wrongful and my account has already been fully restored. But that doesn't mean the nightmare's over. Twitter has decided they're going to continue the nightmare for me. The nightmare is going to continue. So now I just hope, I love the Better Business Bureau. I love that they reopened my claim, my complaint against Twitter. I just hope, like I said in my response, that I reject Twitter's response. And I said, I expect at a bare minimum for Twitter to acknowledge and address the fact that I received an authentic email notification from them that my suspension was wrongful and that my account had already been fully restored. I expect them at a bare minimum as a responsible corporate entity to acknowledge that fact and to address that fact. And I sent the header information to confirm that the email I received was in fact authentic. And I just hope so much that the Better Business Bureau will not allow them to get away with this bullshit. And I just hope so much that the Better Business Bureau is going to hold their feet to the fire and push them on this point and force them to acknowledge the email notification that I received that was authentic, and force them to acknowledge it and force them to address it. That's what I want. And I'm very hopeful the Better Business Bureau has done right by me, and I'm very hopeful that they will do this, that they will hold Twitter's feet to the fire, and they will press them on this point, and they will get Twitter to address the fact that I received that authentic email notification from Twitter support. That's what I want. That's what I'm looking for. I think if I force Twitter to address that, they're going to have to rightfully and fully restore my Twitter account. That's what I'm hoping. So here's to the Better Business Bureau. Come on, Better Business Bureau. Come on, Better Business Bureau. Stand up for the little guy against the corporate behemoth. Come on, Better Business Bureau. We're counting on you. We are counting on you. Okay, so thank you so much. I'll talk to you later. Bye.